So, back with Jamie Wrenn. We're going to be previewing the Wednesday day 2. Jamie, I felt like I should have asked it and I didn't, so we'll just tell it at the start of this show. Nap and next best for day 1, or just nap if you've only got one you really fancy?
The nap for me, Dave, is Concertista in the Mayor's Hurl, and I would say my next best would be Galvin. Yeah.
Nice. And then we'll do it at the end of this episode for Wednesday, but then at the beginning of Thursday, we'll just remind people. Anywho, proper racing. We know as the festival goes on, typically Tuesdays you're like more assured, fancied ones. Wednesday maybe sometimes can be the same or get a bit trickier. This year it looks like it's pretty much the same. Like it looks like the races look fairly well formed. There's 3 at the head of the market in the Ballymore. Which one of the 3 do you like?
I'll go backwards. I don't fancy Gaillard de Million. I don't know why. I know his times are very good. I'd be really worried about him at the start of Cheltenham. They were really slow. That he'll pull too hard. I know he's a hood on, but it's not really a hood. Like, you know, it's on one of those things that go over the ears, basically. I call it. Mm-hmm. I don't like him. I don't know what it is. It's nagging down that he won't get up the hill, and a bit of better ground as well. I don't know. To be honest with you, I think it's seen Bob Allinger Brave Wren's game. I've looked at this race 100 million times. It's the best race of the festival. Like, if you pick the winner this year, you know your horses. But through the form line of Fernie Hollow, I would definitely side with Bob Allinger, because I think if Bob Allinger went in the Supreme, Bob Allinger would win the Supreme. So I think it has a chance. I think it's between Bob Allinger and Braveman's. I wouldn't discount Braveman's game. A lot of people say, oh, that shallow form and shallow race, they never win at Cheltenham, and he's comparing him to Demon, but Demon lost in the thing. But so what? Like, this horse could win instead of Demon losing in the race. Like, do you know what I mean? If I was to side with not too confident, I would go with Bob Allinger. Yeah, for me, I think he just has the best horse. Now, it would be great in a way if you saw Blue Lord rock up in the Supreme, I suppose, and then the only thing Bob Allinger will just go cut about 5 or 6-4 favourite after Blue Lord wins the Supreme. Brave Man's Game beat Stargate, that has been seen since, and the Lancing Queens, that couldn't have formed to win it. I don't think so. Gaillard de Million probably was a Bartlett horse at the start of the year. By the way, he won the 2 mile 6 race, because it was Fernie Supreme, appreciated Ballymore. I'd say he was the Bartlett horse. I'd be a bit worried about would he be tapped for toe. Now his times are very good, but I don't know, this nagging seems that Rachel Backermore have too many gears, and just about siding with Bob Allinger.
Yeah, fair play. I feel very, very, very similar in there. I'm glad you didn't say about after you said about Blue Lord winning the Supreme, Bob Allinger's price being slaughtered. I'm glad you didn't. If Soaring Glory goes in, Brave Man's Game will get slaughtered, because it's not going to happen, is it? I'm very much the same. Gaillard de Million was one of the 3 I don't like. I see him like a next destination or a big getaway that he'll clearly run well, but I can't see him winning it. And I think he's one of those that he might run like a 5th or a 4th in this race. Is there anything at a big price that you think, because we've had it in loads of years. We've had Willoughby Court that actually won it, and we've had lots of horses, Bright Forecast and such, that place at reasonable prices. Is there anything at a big price that you think could get involved for the places, or not?
No, definitely not. These are the big 3, and it'll be first, second, and third. And best luck to you if you can do the tri-cast, doing first, second, and third in the same order.
Superb. So, without further ado, we'll move on to the RSA. This should take quite a while to cover, shouldn't it? Because there's quite a few horses with a chance.
Yeah. It's like, Dave, to be honest, it's like when we did the preview in January. Monkfish is the banker of the meeting. Nothing will beat them. Look, I see a lot of people saying big breakaway, but can the big breakaway jump? Like, you know, can it jump? Now, it might have more of a chance. It jumped well at Cheltenham in November, all right. Probably will be suited to Cheltenham in the 3 miles. But how far was he behind in the Ballymore last year? Like, come on. I know they say he's big backward horse and everything, but I can't see it. No, he probably will be placed. So there's no question of that, probably. I suppose anything at a big price, I'd give Sporting John a chance, all right, to come into the places, all right. I think 3 miles will suit him if he did go down this line. I know he jumped terribly at the start, but I think he jumped better and better ground. They don't have to go that quick at the RSA at the start, so that might suit him. In traditional years, I don't know. Look, to be honest with you, this is a future. I'd back him if you're in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's the thing. Like Monkfish will win this. When you start looking at ones in behind, maybe for each way money or place and things like that, there's just enough nagging doubts about quite a few of them in behind that you couldn't have any confidence. And something like the big breakaway, like I don't think he can beat Monkfish, but for him to run well in the race, he can't afford to jump like he has done on some occasions. We know that his jumping at Cheltenham was pretty good, but I don't know. Like, if he's the sort of horse that he could pull up because he's jumped so bad, or he could give Monkfish a bit of a race and then maybe get a bit of a place. But like, he's clearly got ability. But given how much people like him and all that sort of thing, when you see that he's rated 148, it just makes you think you could go and stick him in a handicap, because he could get away with a few mistakes, couldn't he? He's got to be a stone better than that if he's going to be getting near Monkfish. Like, Monkfish just wins, doesn't he? Fair play. A few people might have backed Big Breaker at the start of the season at 33s. I think a few people were probably on him, so some people have probably got some money in there. Eclair de Rire I do like, but we just don't know what that form's like. If Escaria 10 goes in on the first day, I think Eclair de Rire will be the proper muggy each way bet for everybody, because he jumps like an absolute pro. Like, he's the best jumper novice chase debut jumper I've seen for a long time. Just so fluid over his fences. But he's another one of those. He looks like an old hat. Like, I don't think he'd make any mistakes. It's another one of them that if he has to get close into one or has to fiddle, what's he going to do about it? But Monkfish wins. Wasted too much time. Coral Cup handicap. This has got to be your sort of niche, because it's 2 mile 5-ish. I don't think the Irish do very well in the middle distance chases, but the middle distance hurdles, there's always something in there. Surely, Jamie, what is staring out at us that we haven't seen that's going to win the Coral Cup? Or do you not fancy anything?
The few here, Dave. I don't know. Like, is the horse better than 149? Is Grand Rye? I had this horse after Wrenn at the start of the year. It was second or third, I think, to Beacon Edge at Galway. And for some reason, I said to myself, "This is a horse for a handicap at Cheltenham." Now, I backed it at about 10-1. I think I got, but look, 6-1, well found in the market. Now, I couldn't be tipping a horse called 6-1 favourite for a Coral Cup. No, it could win. Rock up. Sherry, I don't know. Very eye-catching. Very high. It was eye-catching, but I'd be worried to jump good enough to win a Coral Cup. Do you know what I mean? It's like I remember the plunges on Max Dynamite there. It reminds me a bit of that. Same colours, same trainer. Do you know what I mean? It just kind of reminds me. I'm not going to buy into that. The Shunter is interesting. I think if it runs here, I'll have a right chance. All right, like it's the same mark as it 135 gets the £5 penalties, 140. I don't know. The only thing the problem I have with the Shunter is that they've run him so many times. You know what I mean? Like, because he just could be worn out come to the festival. Mm-hmm. Maybe not. But the two after them I like I like the three. They're kind of all in a row. Like Monte Cristo looked a real, real good horse at Kempton that day. Now he's gone up, £12, I think was in it from Kempton. Mm-hmm. Now, the only thing that is attracted me to Dave, that it ran as a juvenile anyway at Cheltenham and has had a spin around the course. You know, I know I think it was the new course. The new course. Gada had Quest won that, but there was Night Edition there ran there well. He ran well there the last day against the Shunter. Was it in the same race? Yeah. There's form ties with him. He was second in the Poodles last year. Yeah. There's Monte Cristo. I like. You Raise Me Up as another one. If he came here, it interests me. For Martin Breslin, he looks like. And You Raise Me Up. The trainer Breslin said that we kept him back and he's good ground all year. So yeah, he'd interest me if he come here. But the two I like, is Monte Cristo's one, and the other one I like is I can't understand Dave. Look, be wrong. He won at the October meeting. Botox says, if you think Botox has a chance, you have to think Nicky Henderson's horse, Craig Niche, who absolutely destroyed him in Ascot. No, I know he got £12 for it. Has a chance in this race. He has to have a chance in the race. Now, that's me tipping two of Nicky Henderson's horses, but like he's a great record in the race. I backed a few of them to win it. If I was to side with one, I would go with Monte Cristo because I think he's better than 145. Looking at it, a little bit stiff is 145, but I think he could be better than that. He's my selection. I like 4 or 5 in this. Look, I wait till the day to have another bet, and I know I have Grand Roy anti-post, but if I was going for a second bet on top of Grand Roy, it would be definitely Monte Cristo.
Yeah, fair play. And this is definitely one of those races that you could easily make a case for a handful that's in there. Botox has is one that I liked, but again, it's another one of them that's now been nibbled. A few people are putting them up. The problem with the handicaps is once they get confirmed, the price shortens up, and you can back something at you think 20 to 1 is a reasonable anti-post price. gets backed into 12s, and then on the day, because for whatever reason other horses are being backed, they go back out in price, didn't they? So you are definitely best now just to wait till final decks, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Lose a couple of points doesn't really matter, because it is what it is. Craig Niche as well. When me and Darryl did a preview for the Ascot meeting, Craig Niche was 14s, and I said to Darryl to do what he did the last time before he ran, because he had a long layoff before that. He burst a blood vessel and bled, and he stayed on like an absolute train in a race.
Yeah.
But normally a horse that bleeds, like they've got it in their throat, they can't breathe. They don't really finish races, do they? So for a horse like him to finish a race out seemingly very strongly and having the bleeding issue, obviously we don't know how bad it was. It might have been minor. It might have happened after the line, but it just suggested to me that if a horse can do that off that sort of mark, then he's going to be fairly well in. Proved that to be the case at Ascot. I do think that he could potentially back it up. There is one though that I haven't mentioned on anything else before, so I'll just mention it for the sake of it now. Is Power of Pause for Willie Mullins. Like if he runs in it, I will have a bet on him. I mean, I've just said about the anti-post thing. I don't know whether I would do it with him or not. I'll have to toy with it after this, but he was a horse I looked at the beginning of the season and thought, when Appreciate was going Supreme, or let's say beginning of the season, middle of the season, when he was going Supreme, I started to think, what could be like a nice little Albert Bartlett horse? And I was looking at him and thinking, bit of 2 mile speed, dropped him back in trick after stepping him up before. I think how he looked like he could be okay. Anywho, as time progressed, Tory Graph that he beat is rated a little bit higher than him over here. Everyone fancies that for the Albert Bartlett, different trip, but I think if you look at Tory Graph's rating of, I think he's 142 or 43 over here. I think a lot of people were thinking he would bolt up in a handicap off that mark. So 140 for Power of Pause suits me. He won his point over to the middle trip, and that was on good ground. And when he beat Tory Graph, that was on crap ground. So I actually wonder whether maybe the better ground might suit him. The only caveat to that is it was pants in his bumpers on yielding. So you don't know whether to trust the ground or not. But he's interesting for me if they decide to declare him, because obviously if the ground isn't in his favour, they won't run him. If they don't think the ground is a problem, then they will declare him. And I think if they declare him, a few people might latch onto it. And like you say, like Kashari, I'm not sold on him at all. Willie Mullins is going to have a couple that are going to run in here. And before you know it, like Ngolo might end up in the Albert Bartlett. Yeah, Kashari might not end up being their first string. All of a sudden you see Paul Townend jocked up on Power of Pause. I'm just spitballing, but who knows? But yeah, there's a handful that people could have interest in this race, couldn't they? But fuck it, I'm going to back Power of Pause. There we go. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for your selection, and I'll go back something against it. Queen Mother Champion Chase, Jamie. Again, all the championship races this year, I know some of them have suffered their blows and stuff, but you look at the Champion Chase this year, bar Defi de Soy not coming, and he was so poor this season, it's irrelevant in being here anyway. There's been knock stripped basically because of Altior, but we've got pretty much the sort of runners in this race that we would have been expecting to start the season. Like I say, bar your Defi. Put the kettles in here, the previous Arca winner. You've got Chacon Poussoir that should have been here last year. You've got Altior that should have been here last year. Then you've got the horses that have been beaten these types, like First Flow looks like New Kid on the Block. Nube Negra goes and does him. Her Little Og, wins a Tingle Creek. Like all the big names are here. Even Rouge Vif at the start of the season, when people were saying good ground, all of a sudden he was like a Tingle Creek champion chase horse. So Royals in there, it's been there and done it. Like it looks like a pretty hot champion chase. And Willie Mullins has never won it. Chacon Poussoir is very, very short in here. Does he just win though?
Yeah, he will. He should win, Dave. I don't buy into this crap that he's bad after the last. Because if you watch back the Punchestown race, when he beat Defi Desai at the end of the season, that was good ground at Punchestown. He looked a better horse than anything on it. So I think the better the ground, the better he'll jump, and more he'll be miles clear. Now, I do agree. I think if you're going to have an each way pull, Score Royal and Rouge Reef, I think are a little bit of a bet each way, because they will love the ground compared to all the rest. And I think they're viable each way alternatives instead of favourite. Especially, I know people are cribbing that Rouge Reef only won a handicap, but it looks a different animal on good ground.
Yeah,
so I give him a little bit of a squeak, but a little bit. Same with Score Royal. He's been there. Score Royal just a grade 2 horse, and that's about it. Like, do you know what I mean? Vish could be just a grade 2 horse as well, but Chacon Poussoir should win, and hopefully Willie Mullins will finally break his duck in the Queen Mother.
Yeah, I hope so, mate. And like the Rouge Vish So Rule thing, there is betting markets without Chacon Poussoir. I know that when Darryl mentioned that to me, I think Altior was 130 poke. So with these horses being bigger prices than that, they're going to be probably reasonable each way prices in that market without Chacon. So they could come fourth in the race. and you're getting sort of paid in there anyway. But what do you make of Altior with the headgear on? Like, do you like? I mean, no one's really going to like a champion chaser
No,
wearing.
he will like the ground. I will say that he liked the ground. Nicky Henderson is always saying he likes to go ground, like kind of thing. Like, but no, not for me. Sure, I prefer him in the bloody in a Ryanair. To be honest with you. But no, you'll get there. But like, if he runs back, just retire the horse. He owes them nothing. He's a great horse, and he is a great horse. No matter what people say about him and the way Henderson was mucking about with him, he's still a good horse. So look, it'd be great to see him come back. And but we'd have a squeak on the ground, all right. He would have a squeak, but I'd be fair to get outpaced in the race. That's just me, my opinion.
Yeah, and I worry for him now because of just like he just didn't look himself at Kempton like it was like literally the first jump of that race just didn't look the same horse at all. So a bit sad for him. I think with Chacon as well. When we did the Colossus preview last year, luckily Dickie Johnson stepped in and we spoke to him about a few things. I asked him about a couple of horses in handicaps and stuff where he gave us bits of info. He liked Pylon last year, that he wished he could ride it in the boys' race last year. Maybe that's going to be going back there this year. So we'll talk about it when we come to Martin Pipe, but I guess he probably fancied that again. But I asked him about the Deffy ride on Chacon Poursoir because he went over to Punchestown to ride. And I said, was it the fact that Deffy was over the top because had lots of runs in the season and maybe that's why he didn't get so close to him? And but before I'd even finished, he just said, honestly, this horse is, he goes, I've never seen anything like it. But not like to like exaggerate the case. And we asked him some other stuff and he was like fairly deadpan about things. The only first time I've met him, so how to gauge it, I don't know. But we talked about it last year. He said like this horse will win the champion chase. Like he couldn't have anything else. Like he just said, you obviously think how many races he's ridden and how long he's been doing it. What he did at Punchestown, there was no excuses from Deffy. He was fine. Yeah, like he's like he said, he just hasn't been behind a horse that just quickened away like that. He said when they turned in, because it's fairly long coming, isn't it? Yeah, he turned in and he all he was thinking was like, I've got him covered. I'm going to win this, but just thought I expect that we're going to get closer to him. And he said he just didn't stop galloping, and at no point did he really be asked. And he just literally just bolted up. So I'm hoping now for him, it's nice redemption from the Stone Bruise last year because potentially he could be coming here to win back-to-back champion chases. Like Willie Mullins, first time he won the Gold Cup with his album last year, he goes and wins 2 in a row. It's the way that people say it, don't they? You wait your lifetime for something to happen and then all comes at once. And obviously with Duvan that's been in there before, like it's nice for all the connections and all of them in it. Yeah, so hopefully. There's a nice story behind whoever goes and wins it. Although I'd be very disappointed if it wasn't Chacon Poursoir or Altior that won it. But hey ho. Cross country, do we even need to talk about it?
No, easy Slens will win. Game over.
Superb. I'll tell you something though. I've been trying to look if there's anything in behind because obviously there'll be some each way plays in there. I can't have Tiger anymore. I think he's completely and utterly gone unless they juice him up for one last bang. I can't have it. Is there anything else behind that you like could be each way or just can't? No, I'm the same. I can't find anything so good. Just leave it alone. Watch easy to make a cup of tea. What about the Grand Annual? I know it's a race that you love. I bet you were pissed off when they moved it to the Wednesday. Yeah, 100%. I like backing horses that ran in the race, Dave. Rock the World there just reminds me, just came off the top of my head there. Backed it the year before and I said, I got a bad run and I thought, oh yeah. And then Robbie Power rocked up with it. Like, it was a great day for Robbie Power. Obviously, won this the Gold Cup Size and John that day. Yeah, it just I had a good bet in him. I was delighted because it just went with the form from the previous year. He did say as well, Robbie Power, to be fair to him, I remember watching the Size and John interview after the race. All he could say was, how are you going to celebrate tonight? Stuff like that they asked me. He was like, don't worry about that. I've still got to ride Rock the World in the Grand Annual. Rock the World, yeah. And as soon as he said that in the post-Gold Cup interview, back Rock the World. Back it, yeah. So, will it? But obviously, us and them was placed in the race last year. I know that. Yeah, I give him a chance there because I read there that he has had a wind up there before the race. So yeah, he has a chance. All right, I will say that. But that's now I'm going on to a Joseph O'Brien horse that I fancy 2 more Joseph O'Brien horses on top of it. So go on then. If Joseph O'Brien doesn't win this race, there's something wrong. Anyway, so what do you make of the two then? In Two Christened and Embittered, because lots of people have talked about him in slightly different ways from a long way back. And because I've spoken to people about him a long way back, I know which one they have preference to, and they're just biased now. They're still with that horse because they fancied it a while back. I think you're definitely more of an impartial judge because you're quite happy to change your mind on horses whereas me and Jet Dowd are way too stubborn as well. Embittered and Tukas, which one of them do you genuinely fancy more? Because I think they're probably about the same price now, aren't they?
After the county hurdle last year, I said Embittered to win the Grand Annual, and I'm sticking with that. I think it'll win. I think it's going to run better races than in Tukas. Now, has run on a handicap obviously over fences, but look at the form. Like debut to second to easy work, look the ill-fated easy work. And the only thing my problem with the two of them is Dave, that Embittered, I think, and in Tukas have only won one race each in their life.
Yeah.
But that's the sad thing about it, like, do you know what I mean? And Tukas has ran in all the handicaps this year. For some reason, like he will be better on better ground, but something telling me he just doesn't jump well enough at the right time stages of the race. He can give a howler. I like the form of Embittered as well because he was not far behind Energamine, like in the race. He finished fourth, but he was still there coming to the second last. Like so, you know, I prefer that form. I really do, and especially had the big field handicap experience last year in the county. Like you know, that county or whatever Sant Ramon might be a good horse for the following year. Build Me Up, Buttercup was in there. Like he was amongst them all, and same mark I think. There's at 146 like in the county last year. I think he's a right chance, and look, he's well found now in the market. They both are, but it'd be Embittered for me. Ballymore and Tukas. If Joseph, as I said, us and them probably be third again. I think it's between the Joseph O'Brien horse.
No, it's another tricast then. So you tipped up two tricasts, but Ballymore tricast on, and then the Joseph O'Brien tricast in it. Yeah. Again, I know I wanted to talk more to you about stuff, but because it's a handicap and I want your opinion on a couple, I'm going to ask you. This is a slightly pointless one. I gave Eldorado a massive chance in this. Colin Tizard was on Luck this morning, Luck on Sunday, and said that he fancied him, and I was thinking, fucking get in there. So I stuck a little bit more on. Then was getting messages about the declaration for Tuesday, being told there's 4 in the article. So I just wrote the 4 down that were on the exchanges because they were the 4 that were supposedly going in that everyone was saying. And then 2 more got chucked in last minute. And I'm guessing that's because they saw there was only the 4 runners in the article. So Eldorado Adam's been declared for the article, even though they were thinking of coming for this handicap, which has pissed me off more than anything. But I guess they're thinking, they're expecting him to run well, so they're thinking he's going to run in the 150s. They're thinking if there's only one horse in the article, they've got to beat Shishkin and something. Like say Shishkin tipped up and he wasn't in there, and then he gets beaten second by a better handicap horse in the Grand Annual. Like they've made the right choice, but from a punting perspective, they've wound me up. So I haven't really asked your opinion on it. I just wanted to vent there, didn't I? What about Zanza, mate? Because when he fell behind Sky Pirate, I think he would have won that race that day. Do you like him at all?
He's a little bit of an Tukas to me, Dave. Does he jump well enough? Do you know what I mean? Does he jump well enough? Will he? Like that's a big wide open track. That track they ran like in Cheltenham that day. When I know the form's good because Sky Pirate had gone up to the 150s and Iblio keeps winning. But I don't know, David. The tighter track in the Grand Annual is totally different. It's a totally different race now compared to what it was in the new course. And I'd be a problem if he'd be stuck in the main horses and then all of a sudden the fence comes up and you can't see it, boom, gone. Do you know what I mean? I'd be really worried about his jumping. But I'm going with the jumper, really, and I think that's what I'm going. A fella that is gone, he jumped well and was up at the pace in a county hurdle will be used into the pace in the Grand Annual to me.
Yeah, fair enough. The only reason I've mentioned him more than anything is just the fact that when Eldorado Adam ran on his chase debut and absolutely battered him, and there's £4 between the two of them now, and he beat him 16 lengths with, I think, very limited excuses. It just makes me look back at Eldorado Adam. It makes me want to cry that they've declared him for the article. But
exactly.
Enough about that. Bumper, Champion Bumper. Looks a 2-horse race according to the betting. I mentioned a couple that I liked at the beginning of the season. Yada, yada, yada. It's not all about me. The only thing I will say in this is I like to move at the run at Newbury. I hoped he was going to win at Newbury and then come here because I thought he'd be short. And you want horses to have won last time out. He didn't win. Don't like him. One that didn't win last time out that I still do like is Ramillies. I still think he's a bit of a squeak. But every bumper winner that I can remember won last time out. Kilcret and Sir Gerhard look potentially miles clear of the rest of the field.
They do.
Which one of the two do you like?
Oh, Sir Gerhard, I'm not changing my mind. I know he's changed stables. Could be the deciding factor. You wouldn't know. A little bit worried about that, but I've had it a decent price. I'm happy. I can't see him out of the first 3, to be honest with you, Dave. I really do. I mean, like, the form is there, Claude. We've seen, like, as I said to you in the other preview, like, you know, he beat a lot of horses that have won bumpers after his Bangor Vintage Prosecco, Kinnegad Lad. He beat Let's Be Clear About It. Kilcrew beat Let's Be Clear About It. They are the two. I would not discount the horse in the space for a little beach way poke, and it's called Three Stripe Life. I was really impressed with that day at Navan. Look, Kilcrew got up to Navan Hill. Sir Gerhard's gone up to Navan Hill. And Three Stripes Life has gone up the head Navan Hill. To me, they're the first three. I'd be worried about Kilcrew. I don't know why. I was saying that the set race just collapsed. They went way too fast, like at start. And I know he joined in. I know they say he could have won by more and all that. But no, Gerhard's been there. The better the ground, the better his chance. He's won on heavy ground. Jamie Kyle got off the horse, said he hated it, and he's still battered. Let's be clear about it. To me, I think he's the most likely winner. I'm very happy. I'm waiting him for a while at a decent price. So Matt Holmes is. Matt Holmes is as well. So two of us will be jumping around the place when he wins, and hopefully he does. But Sir Gerhard for me.
Yeah, mate, I can't really fault you. The funny thing I keep finding about Kilcret as well is like I backed Kilcret. Annoyingly, when he was entered, like I saw him in the bumper market at the beginning of the season, and obviously because he ran in a bumper for Tony Munnins last year, he was 50s for the bumper Kilcret. I just didn't back him because I thought he'd be going over hurdles this year. So that was like I feel like an idiot for not having a nibble then. But like when the BHA have put their ratings out there, 139. Like I don't think there's ever been a bumper horse that's been given a mark higher than that before it came to the bumper. Like it's filthy.
Yeah.
He set. Sergard's been given 132, which in its own right is a monster rating. Racing Post rating of giving Kilcret 151. Oh, it's off the back of that performance. Like like we just don't know yet, but that could be like this could be an absolute machine. But the one thing that tells me this cannot be an absolute machine is that Tony Mullins got it beat in a bumper. Like if this is a monster, we could have run it in a race at the one, surely.
It was. I remember one day I was coming around the corner and I was on my phone and I was taking no notice of anyone, and I looked at it and he was supposed to run in the same race. I think his cap with I think one day they pulled him out last minute at the Clonmel, and that was over hurdles. I think it could have been a bumper now. I might be totally wrong.
No, it was over hurdles.
It was over hurdles, and I was saying, what's he doing here? Do you know? I know it was the angle last year with St. Roy, and Patrick Mullins said he blew out at Clonmel, and same with that Capitano. Like you couldn't believe that because it was the same race, and he won at Clonmel. Then a couple of weeks later, then he blew out at Thurles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just had the feeling like, what's the story of this horse? I think it could have been over hurdles, Dave, if it stayed at Tony Mullins. Do you know what I mean? It could be over hurdles now. Do you know what I mean? This could be an afterthought. Do you know what I mean? But look, he looks impressive. I will say that. Like, there's no denying he looks impressive. He looks a monster. Like, but to say already that he's 7 pounds clear of Sir Gerhard is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're both older horses, which is why like 6-year-olds they're nice horses in these bumpers because they've got that extra year to mature. But the difference is, Kilcret is a second season novice. Well, I know it's like not really a novice status for bumpers, but you know what I mean. Second season bumper horse. They were thinking about going hurdling, and like if we put it into comparison, I know Appreciate he can't do it, but imagine Appreciate had another season under his belt and came into the bumper. Like he's entitled to be much further forward. But what I suspect is that at some point his progression is going to slow down, whereas something like Sagard is still going to be on the rise. And that's what needs to happen for him to progress. Like it looks like a seriously way. I'm just buzzing to see how it goes. Half of me in my internal part, even though Kilcret wins me more money, I want Kilcret beat because I feel like for going forward, he'd be a bad bumper winner because I think he'll be overhyped. And I think the fact that he had that season over bumpers and he was maybe more forward is why it's afforded him to get this rating and to win this. But that's probably a bad thing to say. It looks a proper race. So hopefully the two of them are fighting out there and they're both head to head.
I'm ready to go. But look, I suppose the hindsight, good thing that Gerhard's gone to Willie Mullins. He might eke more improvement out of him, maybe. I don't know, respect to Gordon Elliott or any of them and down in Denise Foster's yard. But, like, geez, Willie Mullins will have two lovely ones going next year for the Supreme and the Ballymore already. Like, do you know what I mean? So, look, hopefully they'll fight it out, but I won't discount his 3-stripe. Like, there's something about him. I really was the last day in Navan.
See, I do wonder with him whether he'll run him in the Punchestown bumper, whether because you don't really get the big ones going there anyway. And obviously, Willie's got these two, and he would have run them together anyway. But I don't feel there's going to be any redemption. Like I'd like to see the battle happen, and even like say Segard gets beat a couple of lengths, I would probably think next time out, I'd say, do you know what, if he settled in a bit more, again, that progressive line, like I wouldn't say that the form has been completely frank, like he can't beat Kilcret. but we're just not going to get that extra clash after. So, fingers crossed it happens as we think. But like, as much as it's not too much of a race to get too excited in, it looks like for like 1 year of the bumper, it's a race I'm much more excited about, because lots of people just say, "Oh, it's just the bumper, boring." This looks like a proper clash, so I'm quite excited about it.
It does.
Superb. We'll wrap up there for day 2, and then we'll move on. So to wrap up for day 2, I do want your nap and your next best. We'll stick this at the start of the next video as well. So nap. Don't care about Bryce, just say him.
Nap, monkfish, next best, or get